So another one of the goals that I have within my business is to help parents and children learn how to collaborate more effectively with one another.
Hmm.
It's something that I believe is missing in the family dynamic quite a lot. It's also missing quite a lot in the school system as well, and I wanted to build this business as a way to help kids connect more closely with adults and to work with them on the same level. So my question for you is, I'm just curious, how, since you became a mum and knowing the work that you do and how much you wanted to follow your own path, your career path, how are you able to achieve that in your life with your child?
Well, again, I think it's just showing up authentically and being proud of that. I do a lot of extracurricular things. I love to sing and be in musicals, and I do that, and I make my son a part of my life, So instead of separating it and hiding it and pretending that I don't have interests, it's involving him. And then he gets to cheer me on. He's so excited to watch me on stage, and as a result, he's in a play now. My husband is in addition to the other work that he does, he loves to paint, and he's made a side business out of that. My son loves art now, right? So our kids become a product of who we are, whether we like it or not, or whether we're doing it deliberately or not.
Right.
And so part of what I do and what I teach parents is really, you have to love your life. You have to, if you want your kids to love their life and to live an inspired life and be deliberate and intentional, we have to model that. And so the only way to do that is not through our words, is not through telling them what they have to do and signing them up for 50,000 sports or extracurricular activities while we then sit on the couch and do nothing, or come home and talk about how boring or tiring our day is. It's a mixed message. We really have to live it in order for our kids to get it, that's the way to live. And, it doesn't always have to be performance-based. It could be really small. It could be, having a games night together, or just finding ways to stay connected. But again, I think it's really about just showing up fully in your life, however you want that to look like, and really modeling that for your kids and being consistent with the messaging.
Right. I totally agree with that and totally resonate with that approach. I think I've spoken to a number of people in parenting before who are doing similar work just in different ways or different areas to you, and they say the same thing. And this is something I definitely want to encourage parents as well as teachers and childcare workers to be able to do that more so with kids, because from what I know and from my own experiences, when you do that with children, they show up in a way that you've never seen before. And it's quite inspiring as an adult to watch a child show up in a way that actually literally makes you question your reality a little bit and go, am I doing the right thing?
Well, it's funny you say that because, I feel that kids have so much to teach us because they're actually right now, depending how old they are, of course, but the younger they are, the better, because they're still in the form of innocence and of believing that the world is their oyster, and that, they're so tenacious and they're so relentless in getting what they want until we, as parents and society, tells them that they can't have that or they can't do that anymore. So, they actually, if we sit and learn from our kids, because they're present, right? They don't worry about the past or fear the future. They are just in the moment. They know what they want. They don't look at obstacles or blocks. They're gonna go for it.
Sure.
And that is such a huge message for us as adults who are jaded to really say, oh, you know what? Yeah, that's how we should all be living, because we all have that ability. We all have the capability around us, the universe that supports that. And, so before we squash our kids' dreams, which we don't always intentionally do, but, it happens, there's a lot to learn from the kids. And again, that's part of what I teach parents and, is to really be deliberate in how do you want to live your life and get your kids involved with that, but also learn from your kids.
Great, that's awesome. I love it. You mentioned a little bit earlier when you were talking about The Secret, you mentioned something called the law of attraction, and I know that you've studied this, and
yes.
You facilitate a process through what you've learned. So what I wanted to know is if you could explain what the law of attraction is for people who have no idea what that is,
yeah,
and how we can apply that principle in our own lives, or the principles, I guess.
The law of attraction is actually one of my favorite topics to talk about, and I've really incorporated it in my teachings and courses because it's actually a universal law. So I didn't make it up. Anybody who's teaching it didn't make it up. We're just teaching it. It's a science. So basically, the basic definition of what law of attraction is that whatever I give my attention, energy, and focus on is what I attract back into my life, whether it's negative or positive. So, people have explained it like attracts like. We are all energy. Every one of us, everything around us is energy. And we give off certain vibrations or energy based on our moods or feelings. So whatever we feel about something, we either give off a negative energy or a positive energy about it. Mm-hmm. And the universe picks up on this energy. So it will check our vibration, match it, and give us more of the same. So it's not necessarily a literal match, but if I'm sending off an angry vibration or a negative vibration or a frustrated vibration, that's what the universe checks, matches, and gives me more to be angry about, negative about, frustrated about. But it also works in our favor. So if we can deliberately choose our words to be more positive, choose our thoughts to be more positive, choose our feelings to be more positive, we are going to give out a positive vibration. The universe is going to check that, match it, and give us more of the same. Mm-hmm. So this is something that is available to all of us, whether we know it or not, whether we're aware of it or not, or whether we like it or not. And so part of my initial teachings is really to educate people on this universal law, because again, it's happening 24/7. So instead of, having life happen to us, it's really about choosing to have life work for us, mm-hmm. right? And that's being really deliberate and choosing things on purpose and living on purpose.
Right. Well, as you probably know, because we've spoken before, I practice exactly what you speak about. I've been doing that kind of work for quite a long time. Different to what you've learned, but similar principles based on the same science. And I totally agree with you. When you focus your attention on what you want or what you're trying to create or what you value, the more attention you focus, or the more attention you put on that, the greater the opportunity you give yourself of actually attracting that in or receiving that into your life. Mm-hmm. Now, some people who might be watching might be a little bit uncomfortable with those words, attracting and energy and all those sorts of things. But if we look, I'm just going to expand a little bit on what you've said for some of those viewers who might be uncomfortable with that. If we look at the entire human form and the entire human body, and we take microscopes and we go to the deepest levels of our anatomy, to the atoms that combine us and make us up, if we go down to those levels under a microscope, you can actually see the vibrations in those atoms. They're bouncing off one another. Mm-hmm. So when you mention vibration, that's exactly what we're actually vibrators in essence, mm-hmm. of energy and of movement. So as you said, when your moods or your emotions or your thoughts can impact your vibration or your energy, that's totally true. From a scientific point of view, because your emotions are exhibited through your body through a bunch of things called peptides or neuropeptides, which connect the cells to one another in your body. That's why when someone feels happy, it's not just their face that shows their expression, it's usually the entire body. And the same with sadness. Mm-hmm. So I totally totally resonate with what you spoke about with the law of attraction, and I just wanted to add that little extra piece in to give some of those people out there who are a little bit more linear and a little bit more logical about things. Oh, so that's what you mean by energy. It's not that woo-woo stuff. It's actually, the body does do that.
Right, and I'm glad that you added that, because it is a science, and I am not the science person to explain it. So it's a collaboration, because I'll be woo-woo and you could be science. So we'll get everybody.
No problem. I mean, I have no problem with that, because I have gone down speaking about energy and all that. I've done that most of my life, and most of my career. Yet I love, at the same time, also love the science behind it. I love understanding the depths of things. So for those people who also would like to know that, I thought I'd just add that little piece extra in so they understand a little bit more what you're saying. Now, my final question is, if you could give some really top laser-like tips to the people that are watching, what are some of those tips, those top tips that you can give that may be able to help the viewers that are watching become more empowered and in control of their own lives?
Well, the first and most important thing, I believe, is to be really, really honest with yourself. What do you want? What is working for you? What isn't working for you? What do you want to change? And if at this point you can't vocalize it, or you're afraid to vocalize it, that's fine, but be honest with yourself. So take some time, get quiet, and really just think about the different areas in your life. And I sort of break them down to the biggies, like your financial situation, your career, your relationships, the environment that you live in, your health and well-being, your spirituality or religion, or, that kind of thing if you practice any of that. And really just look at the different areas in your life and see where you're most happy, and where there's always an area in our life that can be improved. Even if we're living a great life, there's always something that can bring down our mood or vibration, and that's going to impact the overall vibration that we send off. So what's that one thing or that one area in your life that you think the most about in a negative way? And then get really honest about that. Because so many times we stay stuck because we think we need, we have to stay in this job because it's a paycheck, and how am I going to ever possibly leave it to pursue my passion and all of that stuff. And we get so caught up in our fears and our worry around that we choose to stay comfortable, and yet we're living a mediocre, kind of unhappy existence. We're just kind of going through the motions. So, I believe you got to first get really honest with yourself. And then, take action. Try and make small shifts, So if it's, let's just say, use the career, because I know so many people are stuck in a job that they don't like, but they feel they have to stay in. It's not about upping and leaving and quitting right away, and, that could be scary, but maybe you start to do the research, and maybe you start to look at different options while you're still getting paid, or maybe you decide, oh, I love, like for me, for example, I love to sing and I love to perform, but I know that I'm not talented enough to make that my career. I mean, I'm not delusional, but it's something that I enjoy and that I love and that feeds my soul. So what do? I still have my day job, but I'm in these amateur plays, and I take singing lessons just for me. So, it doesn't have to be a drastic change, but these are things that feed my soul and inspire me and keep things fresh and fun for me. So finding those little things, it could be a hobby. It doesn't always have to involve making money. So really just checking in with yourself, getting honest, taking action to take little steps to really just feed the passion and figure out what that is. And I always say, you know what? It's very hard to do this stuff on your own. I have a coach. I mean, this is what I do, and I've read about it for years and years and years, and I know it, and I love it, and it's like part of my world. And yet I still get stuck on my own stuff because I'm so invested in my stuff. So I need an objective person to get me out of that, or to call me on it, or to challenge me to go to the next level. So, when we think about it, every athlete has a coach. Yeah. Every singer, popular singer, every major business person nobody does it on their own, right? And yet so many people think, oh, well, if I ask for help, or if I, that makes me weak, or that makes it seem like I can't do it. But it's not about being weak. It's about really stepping into your greatness and stepping into the potential of what you truly can become. And I believe that we need somebody objective to help us get there. So, whether it's a mentor, a coach, a teacher, and I really recommend, outside of your family, outside of your current group of friends, because, people have good intentions, but a lot of times, your family might be projecting their own fears onto you and say, oh, you could never do that, because of their own fear around that. So when you get somebody objective, or surround yourself with other like-minded people who are outside, who don't know who you were in high school, and they're really able to just look at who you are right now as you are right now, and it's a better learning environment, and you can really then just be who you are without all the excess baggage. So those are sort of the top tips I would recommend.
Fantastic. I mean, I can safely say that I still have a coach that I use. In fact, I have a number of different coaches for different things, depending, and sometimes I'll use one more than the other. And I found particularly, I mean, I love doing stuff on my own. I love doing a lot of work by myself. But there are times, just as you said, when you're really wanting to take action, you're wanting to take those steps forward, that sometimes the best thing to do, or the wisest thing, more than anything, it's not necessarily the best, it's just a wise step for you as a person to take, is to delegate some of that responsibility to someone else who may be able to see the bigger picture at that particular moment, to assist you to become more aware of that. And I think that's incredibly helpful. I know that that's something that you definitely do that to assist other people as a coach, and that's something that I do as well. So those are fantastic tips, because those are some of the things that I would recommend as well. And I'm sure a lot of people in our industry would suggest very similar ideas in terms of what can help people, I guess, get to the place that they really want to get to in life. So thank you.
You're welcome.
For, I guess, taking all this time out of your day to answer all these questions that I had, and to share your knowledge and your wisdom and your insights and all the stuff that you've learned, and I guess for giving the viewers that are watching this the opportunity to meet you. Ever since I met you, and after a number of conversations we've had, like I said at the beginning, I knew that was something that you have, that Be Who You Want to Be doesn't have at the moment, and I wanted to share that with the community.
Thank you.
You're welcome, and I really love what you're dedicated to, and I really look forward to where your mission takes you, and to be able to share that and more of, I guess, what you're gearing yourself towards with our community. And on top of that, I mean, there's lots of different thank yous, but on top of that, I'd really also be honored to invite you to be a part of our community of visionaries. One of my long-term goals with this business, a few years down the track, is to create and build an institution called the Be Who You Want to Be Institute of Inspired Leaders. And as part of that journey, I'm really connecting with as many visionaries as I can, like I mentioned at the beginning, around the world, who are doing incredible things to help kids and parents and childcare workers and teachers, all those people that are working with those in those areas, so that we can really start building a space where kids can learn how to become the leaders that they're destined to be in a school-type environment, but not necessarily in the way that we know traditional schooling to be like it is right now. So, thank you. And
thank you. I would love to be part of it. Love it. Thank you.
Cool. Well, I look forward to bringing you into that as that develops over the next few years. But I'm grateful to have you as part of the community to begin with.
Thank you. I'm honored to be there.
Thank you. Well, I look forward to our next interview, whenever that may be, and any other content that you come up with. I'm sure our readers and viewers would love to have a look at that stuff. So they will most probably get onto the website every so often and have a read of that. But before we go, I wanted to share with our viewers where they can potentially get your book. So if you can let them know where they can find that.
Sure. I have 2 different websites. So the book is at balancethemotherload.com. And, if they want to read more about what I do with my law of attraction stuff and, some of my other programs, they can go to carlycoopercoaching.com.
Okay, cool. Fantastic. Excellent. Well, thank you again, and I look forward to speaking to you soon.
Thank you so much, Greg.
You're welcome.
Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye.